What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever it is you get around to watch us. Once again, guys, Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel. If you are new to the channel, guys, I would love to add you to the community. In order to do that, guys, I'm going to need you to go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. To all my OGs, if you could do me a huge favor, guys, you already know what it is, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. That's how we communicate with YouTube. And then YouTube takes the content and pushes it out across the platform. Also, to everyone out here, whether you're new, you're an OG subscriber, if you're not following me on Twitter, guys, hey, look, at Hyder Steve. If you're not following me on Twitter, guys, listen, right now I got a fan poll up here where I'm talking about who's going to start opposite of Darius Slay. I'd love to have your feedback. So if you could hit me up, go on Twitter and cast your vote. Going to be up through the end of the weekend, y'all. All right, so let me know your opinion there. Today's topic, Zach Ertz. Listen, the Philadelphia son that everyone loves to hate. Look, we're going to talk about Zach Ertz today, guys, so buckle up. It's time to talk about the situation. All right, let's get it.
Start fast. Let's put a stamp on this game. Let's go. Start fast.
The root of this conversation, it kind of really stems from a live stream I was watching yesterday. I was halfway paying attention, guys, like doing some stuff, preparing for like future videos coming up, and I was listening to Philly 500's live, and I heard Philly 500 talking about the salary cap and the implications of us being $25 million in the hole for 2021, which we're going to get into, guys. And somebody replied to Philly 500, and I didn't get to see who it was, guys, because, like I said, I wasn't really paying attention to the screen at the time. But apparently, they had the notion that the salary cap rolls over. So if you have $30 million of available cap space in 2020, that $30 million would then roll over to 2021 so you could use it. Yeah, they said that. All right, guys, if it was you who said the comment, please understand, I'm just having a little fun at your expense, guys. Don't take it personal. But let me explain to you why that's completely incorrect. So, player salaries, like when it comes to what that total figure is on the salary cap, is an aggregate, meaning it's a collection of all the player salaries for that year. Now, you have something that in economics that's called a price floor and a price ceiling. A price floor meaning you couldn't charge below something. A price ceiling meaning you can't pay over something or you can't charge over a certain amount, right? Guys, the common example that you hear of a price ceiling would be like rent-controlled apartments in New York City, right? You can't charge above a certain price. The common example you hear of a price floor would be like minimum wage. That's the rudimentary, like, oversimplification of what a price ceiling and a price floor is. It's what they teach, every high school student if you have a school where you have a program lucky enough they're teaching economics, or every college freshman taking Eco like 101, guys, or 111. The salary cap is a ceiling, guys. It's a ceiling. It means you cannot take your, total team salary and exceed a certain number, all right? This is done so that way it makes the league more competitive. So that way you don't basically have a New York Yankees out there basically trying to buy out everything. Fully understanding that Major League Baseball has a very soft cap, by the way. With that said, guys, the way it works is you take all the team's players, okay, for the 2020 season. All right, when you add all their salaries together, all right, when you total that to what the league will give you for that season, right, the ceiling, we are $30 million below it. That $30 million, this is not paid leave, guys. You're not taking sick days. You're not taking vacation days and rolling them over to the next year. That's not the way this works. The very following year, you're going to take all the team's salary for 2021, and it's going to do the same thing. It's going to measure it against that price ceiling. Currently, we are $25 million above. This is the ceiling now. We're $25 million above it. So Howie has to come back down below that ceiling. All right? This is the struggle when we're talking about a guy like Zach Ertz. I don't personally want to see the guy traded or cut. I like the guy. I know how good of a football player Zach Ertz is. But at the same time, guys, we have to look at who are the highest paid players on the Philadelphia Eagles football team in 2021. And it's all good and fine to say, oh, it's Howie Roseman, how he work his magic. Well, guys, listen, that doesn't work for me. You're going to have to show me how you're going to work that magic, because If Howie was working his magic, we wouldn't be $25 million over the cap to begin with. There's some pretty bad contracts on the books that are causing this particular situation to occur. So today what I want to talk about, guys, is number one, kind of like how do you resolve this situation? And then number two, how does Zach Ertz fit into the resolution? Now, mind you, it doesn't mean that you have to trade or cut Zach Ertz. It doesn't mean you have to trade or cut any player. But you can't take that out of the realm of possibility, y'all. All right, let's break it down by the numbers, guys. All right, to begin with, guys, every one of the numbers I'm going to show you and I'm going to talk about today that you're going to see displayed behind me here, every one of these numbers, guys, is coming from overthecap.com/calculator/Philadelphia TAC or hash, whatever you want, not hash, but TAC Eagles / okay? It's all coming from Over the Cap. And you can already see, if you go look at the number where it says 2020, Eagles currently have $28.686 million. Earlier in the week, I showed you a video where we had $30 million. So you might be asking, Steve, what changed in a couple of days? Well, the Eagles recently optioned, I want to say it was 6 players. We opted to pick up their options. So that brought down some of that salary. We also went from 2021, we went from having 19.9 million we were in the hole to now we're up to 25.1 million in the hole, guys, which is it's a big number. I'm not going to lie. It's a big number, guys. What happened, once again, goes back to optioning those players. So we're sitting here and we're looking at these numbers. We know we currently for this season have $28.6 million of available cap space, but we are in the hole nearly almost as much for the following season. You always got to keep this in mind when you're talking about signing football players, guys. So let's take a look, guys. If you go down to 2020, you can see underneath 2020, there's a listing of, number one, how many players are under contract for the year, right? We have 64 players under contract for the year. And in return, we have 19 pending free agents. It's a big deal, guys. So let's just take a look at who those free agents are. So we got guys like Nigel Bradham, Ronald Darby, Jason Peters. We have guys like Tim Jernigan on that list, Josh McCown. So there's definitely some, Corey Clement. There's some guys that possibly could return to the Eagles this season with 28 million basically of available cap space, right? So this season, completely we've got under control, no problems. But we really need to flip it, and let's talk about next year in 2021, and you'll see the problem emerge very, very quickly, guys. If we go to 2021, guys, so if we take it from 2020 to 2021 on Over the Cap, you can see there's little tabs down at the bottom with each of the years, 2020, 2021, 2022, so forth and so forth. What you will see is, number one, there's a huge difference between the amount of players under contract. In 2020, we have 64 players currently under contract. In 2021, we only have 38 players under contract. I want you to think about that for a second. This is going to tell you something about the salaries, guys, and how bad some of these contracts really are. In 2020, with 64 players under contract, we are still 28 million under the cap. Pretty good cap management. But when you go to 2021, guys, with only 38 players, so really just slightly over half of the same amount of players, we're 25 million over the cap, almost 26 million over the cap. Guys, this is a problem. Now let's take a look at who the highest paid players are, right? Those 10 highest paid players. Carson Wentz, Fletcher Cox, Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Graham, Lane Johnson, Darius Slay, Javon Hargraves, Brandon Brooks, Malik Jackson, Zach Ertz. And then underneath that, you have like Deshaun Jackson and a few other players, guys. Clearly, the changes in our salary cap to get below, right now we're here, we need to get down below here. It's got to come from those 10 players that whether you're cutting them, trading them, restructuring them, renegotiating, you got a lot of work to do, Howie. Most of us here really love Zach Ertz. His contract is a concern, guys. He's got no guaranteed money. And he's already the 10th highest paid player for 2021 on this particular, shakeout of things. That's a problem, guys. Guys, as I look at this salary cap situation for 2021, there are 5 players I think that are very susceptible to either being traded, cut, renegotiated, or restructured. Zach Ertz is number one, guys. We just went over his contract details. But let me give you the other options. Number one, he's been a mainstay of our defense, okay? He has been the guy that most offensive coordinators and head coaches have to account for every time we line up defensively. And that's none other than Fletcher Cox, okay? Fletcher Cox is going to count $22.447 million against the cap in 2021 for the Eagles. Makes him the second highest paid player on our team. He has a $15 million base salary. He's turning 30 years old, which I'm not saying is over the hill, guys. He's still got some productive years left, but he is crossing that 30-year-old threshold. And he only has $1 million of guaranteed salary left. If I had to take a wild guess, I would look to Fletcher Cox possibly restructuring and renegotiating that contract to bring that cap number down, and in return receiving some more guaranteed money. I think that would be a logical solution here. Number two, Alshon Jeffrey, guys. Look, I'm not going to sit here and bash Alshon Jeffrey for everything because, look, things weren't quite right with Alshon Jeffrey. We all know that. But at the end of the day, Alshon Jeffrey, if he's healthy and he's on the field, he's still one of the best X receivers in the league. But the bottom line is this, guys. He's going to count $18.5365 against the cap next year. $18,536,000 and $500. That's a crazy number here, guys. He has $12.75 due to him in a base salary. He's turning 30 this season, so he'll be 31 by next season. And he's got no guaranteed money after this season on his contract. Not to mention, I think he's a very prime example of a player who will likely be cut or traded with a June 1st designation, because doing so would give the Eagles $13 million back of cap space. 13 is, basically a little more than half of that $25 million figure. I think it's a very likely outcome here, guys. The next player is Brandon Graham. Love Brandon Graham. He's kind of been the heart and soul, right? He's one of these great locker room guys. He's meant a lot for this city. He's been one of the great turnaround stories we've had. But he's scheduled to make $17.928 million next year against the cap. That's what he's going to count against the cap for us. He has a $13 million base salary. And by the way, he's turning 32 this season, so he'll be 33 in 2021. There's absolutely no guaranteed money left on his contract past this season. Might the Eagles renegotiate this, possibly bringing him back as a veteran pass rusher? Possibly. It just depends on how Brandon Graham feels about the city, because I think he could definitely still have a role as a Chris Long type player here for another year or two. But I think that number has to be renegotiated. And we do need to face the possibility that Brandon Graham might feel that his value, just like what happened with Malcolm Jenkins, is higher than what the Eagles are valuing him. So we could reach a level of impasse. I don't think that's a guarantee, guys, but you can't discount that happening either. All right, the next guy, the fourth and final guy I'll talk about out of these five. We already said Zach Ertz, guys. The next guy is Deshaun Jackson. All right, D-Jax. He's going to count $10.934 million against the cap next year, okay? He's going to have an $8.2 million base salary. He's turning 34 by the end of this season, I think, guys. And he has no guaranteed money on his contract after this season. I think it's very likely, guys, that he's cut as a June 1st designation following this season. I think he'll be here this season, but I think he's going to be let go following the season. I think it's a very likely outcome. We need the money. And you guys can look at this and say, like, oh, yeah, but if you just do one or two of these moves, like, that brings us back to, like, maybe having $1 million or $2 in cap space. Guys, you still got to draft players, sign those players. You still only have 38 players under contract for 2021. So you're going to have to go out there and add more bodies, renegotiate and sign your own guys, and go in free agency. Some major work has to be done here, guys. These are the possibilities that I'm seeing. All right, guys, thanks for watching. To close out this video, guys, let's have a little fun here. For you guys that are, adamant Zach Ertz is going to be here, well, I mean, you're not, no one knows for sure yet, but let's play a game. I'm going to show you guys how you can kind of play around with the numbers to see how in the hell you make this stuff fit, guys. So there are two contracts we can look at to get some kind of guidance to what kind of deal the Eagles would strike with a Zach Ertz, guys. You can look to Austin Hooper's deal with Cleveland and Jimmy Graham's deal with Chicago, all right? Austin, he signed for 4 years, $23 million guaranteed, okay, and he had $10 million in a signing bonus, okay? Jimmy Graham, on the other hand, signed a 2-year, $16 million contract, all right, with $3 million guaranteed and a $6 million signing bonus. So let's be honest. Zach Ertz, 30 years old, he's probably going to sign that 4 to 5 year contract that Howie Roseman loves to give out, with about 2 years of really guaranteed solid contract with an option on a third year, and then probably it will become time to renegotiate the contract. That's just the way Howie Roseman does things, guys. So, looking at those numbers, you can go to over the cap and you can play around to see, can you get the Eagles some cap savings. And I'll show you one instance of what I came up with, and I don't think this is by any means what's going to happen, but just judging from the numbers we see here, we have a general idea of what we can expect for Zach Ertz. So let's play around with the numbers a little bit, guys, and you'll see what I'm saying. Guys, if we're going to keep Zach Ertz, it's going to cost some money. So I'll just give you my thoughts on this, guys. I don't have any more knowledge than anyone else does, guys, but I can see Zach Ertz costing you something along the lines of like 5 years, an extension of 5 years, $60 million, with about $25 million guaranteed, with about a $12 million signing bonus. Okay, sounds a lot worse than what it is, because in reality, what you're really looking at is a contract that's really about 3 years and $34 million, with about $25 million of guarantees and a $12 million signing bonus. That's really the reality of it. But the way I would work it out is like basically you're giving them $12 million in a signing bonus, and then you're going, $5 million with $5 million guaranteed that first season, so 2021, and then 2022 I'd have them making about 12.5, 12.5 million with about 10 million of that guaranteed. Year 3 I'd have them making about 12.5 against the cap with about 10 million of that guaranteed, and then years 4 and 5 he'd probably be up there around 17.5 mil or so, but none of it's going to be guaranteed because we were never going to intend paying that much. That's a scenario I could see the Eagles getting themselves into if they're going to keep Ertz. Now, listen, you can't discount the Eagles might just move Ertz because you still got Goddard. There's a lot of other considerations going on here, but I do think this is something you will see, a kind of contract you would see, an extension you would see. Because the bottom line is we've got to beat Kansas City to the market with Kelsey, right? And then you also got to beat San Francisco to the market with Kittle. You got to beat those two teams to the marker. It's going to get way too expensive to afford Zach Ertz. All right, guys, that's all I got for y'all today. I appreciate y'all tuning in, guys. Look, let me know question of the day. Let me know your thoughts. I gave you 5 guys I thought were very susceptible to being traded, cut, extended, renegotiated. Let me know. Try to figure it out, guys. You got $25 million in a hole. Even renegotiating Ertz's contract like that only really brought us down from 25 to about 21.8 mil, which gives you a little wiggle room, but you still got to clear a lot of space, and you can't just clear it to a zero value. Like, you got to go way beyond that zero value, and you got to also find money to re-sign your own players because you only got 38 players under contract for 2021. Sign your draft picks, all that kind of stuff, guys. So let me know your thoughts there. Let me know what you guys come up with. I showed you guys how to do it. You can do the same thing on Over the Cap, guys. It's just a calculator for the Eagles. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out here. You know what time it is. EAGLES. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in, guys.